Hello and welcome to the India's #1 newsroom debate show, The Economic Standpoint. Today we are going to discuss the issue of tackling poverty in India through provision of easy finance. In short, we are going to discuss about the microfinance. For all the viewers who do not know about microfinance, let me explain it to you. Microfinance deals with providing financial services to the people who are underprivileged, who do not have access to typical banking services, and who are generally the low-income individuals. So ladies and gentlemen, joining us for the discussion tonight, we have with us the Forbes Entrepreneur for Social Impact 2014, one of the leading forefronts in the microfinance industry, and the CEO of Bandhan Bank, Mr. Chandrasekhar Ghosh. Also we have with us Dr. Devi Shetty Prasad, the founder and chairperson of Narayana Health. Live from Bangladesh, joining with us, we have the leading economist and Deputy MD of the Grameen Bank, Mr. Tariq Hussain. From Trichy, we have the professor at IMZ, Dr. Abhinav Khare. We also have the farmer rights activist, Dr. Saurabh Mohanty with us. So let us begin our discussion for tonight. Sir, we would like to know how the idea of Grameen Bank turned into a revolution and how, in your view, it can alleviate the poverty in India.
Let me correct you on one thing, that Grameen Bank is not just an institution but a tool that can pull developing nations out of the financial apartheid that they are faced with. Now, for such an organization to be successful, one needs to understand the challenges that we faced, and it is to your advantage that you can learn from our experience. The first and the foremost challenge that we faced was the lack of manpower for the management of the demand that there was in the market for these loans. The size of these loans is small, but the number of these loans is very large, and one needs a lot of manpower to cater to this requirement. Second, this challenge was a major challenge. There was a reluctance in people in accepting Grameen Bank loans. There was no financial exposure in the society, and this led to a reluctance towards these loans, and we had to bring about a social change, a behavioral change in the way people thought of financial constructs. But we came about all of these, and look at the success of Grameen Bank. I have the facts with me. We have dispersed $18 billion in loans, and there has been a successful repayment of $16 billion. That's the success. Please let me go, Professor.
Mr. Tariq, I would like to stop you, Mr. Tariq, here. So, yes, Professor, please continue with what you have to say.
How will ensure that fair means are used to acquire the repayment from the people? Literally in Andhra Pradesh, thugs were sent to retrieve the amount, the principal amount of the loan.
Yeah, so Mr. Tariq, what do you have an answer for that?
So we need to understand that in our case, we had a very transparent system in place. We were taking help of self-help groups, we were taking help of NGOs in monitoring this complete system, and there's a research that we conducted that said that 90% of the women who took loans from Grameen banks were successfully able to repay.
Yes, but let us say that it was there in your case. What about India? What about, as Professor quoted about Andhra Pradesh case? What do you have to say? How can you ensure that it will be done in India with such a good result?
So Mr. Beniwal, you need to understand that sending thugs was not the way to go about it. You needed a more transparent system, and you needed some self-help groups to put social pressure on the people to repay these loans, and someone had to develop the sense of responsibility in these people, and that's what your government failed to do.
Let us now move on to one of our own, Mr. Ghosh. So, Mr. Ghosh, now I would like to know that where exactly this industry of microfinance is heading in India, and what will be the future according to you?
Yeah, what we have to understand here is providing microfinance is not the last step in development. What we must do to ensure that the rural get out of the poverty line is that we must have intervention schemes in lots of other sectors such as education, health, retirement, and many other things. So what Bandhan Bank is primarily doing is we have pension schemes as well as micro credit schemes that help these sectors. And the best thing is that we are starting from all the way from 1,000 rupees up to 1 lakh. So a huge a huge range of loans depending on the customer. So right now what I feel is the Indian government is still recovering from the huge crisis that happened in the start of the decade. But I do believe that the role of credit bureaus that are there in the country have done a phenomenal job of keeping the industry on track. Right now, what the country should concentrate on is creating good self-help groups as well as microfinance institutions. These two models must be the pillars of the industry, and this is where our advantages lie, I should say.
Okay, right. So Mr. Ghosh gave us his valuable suggestion, and I hope the government must listen and focus on these two pillars to advance the microfinance industry. So I think we have seen much about the first half of this microfinance industry, that is microcredit. Now let's go to the other part, that is microinsurance. For this, I would like to go to Mr. Shetty. So, Mr. Shetty, first of all, I would like to know about the Yashaswini Health Scheme started by you 12 years ago. So, you started this wonderful scheme which has really transformed the entire healthcare scenario in the country right now. Right. It has brought in around 1.7 million farmers. They have been benefited to a great extent. So, please enlighten our viewers with your thoughts about this scheme and inspire them with this wonderful project.
Yeah, Mr. Beriwal, I have seen many cases in my history, and I firmly believe that today doctors are no more than people who put price tags on the health of people. I mean, if you have 80,000 rupees in your hand, probably you could save your life. If not, we can't help. So I thought that how could we help these people who don't have money and who really want to live. I mean, everyone has a right to live, and we both can agree on that. So I and my team approached the Karnataka government nearly 13 years ago, and we actually convinced 1.7 million farmers to collaborate with us, and the rest is history that 4.5 lakh farmers has already been treated, and nearly 60,000 have had successful surgeries. So I think that's a remarkable achievement for not just any doctor, I mean even doctors like us who have a vast experience already.
Yeah, so as our viewers can hear this, that Dr. Shetty has been part of this wonderful project from as long as 12 years. So Dr. Shetty, one important thing I want to know is, if such is the condition, if so many people are perishing in this country right now, so what role is the government playing? So does government spend on the healthcare services? Are they helping you in this project?
Just putting up facts in front of you, our government spends a mere 1.1% of the total GDP of the country, and for comparison, it's merely just over the sub-Saharan countries that we find. And I don't think that for a country like India, this figure is good enough. So we had to go for alternatives, and so we approached the Karnataka government, and to our surprise, not just they helped us, they actually believed in us, and they became the reinsurers of our scheme. So we really thank the Karnataka government, and people who have benefited really profit from that.
Right, so I believe there is one government at least in the country which has identified the role of this wonderful scheme. So we have seen a lot of views on this on the story of microfinance. I believe our viewers must have loved the experiences shared by our experts on different aspects of microfinance. So this is all from your host today. I would really like to thank all of our experts, Mr. Shetty, Mr. Ghosh, also the experts joining us live from different parts of the country as well as outside the country. I would like to thank each and everyone. Also, I wish as we have seen, the future of this country lies in the hands of these budding entrepreneurs as well as the budding people there who are helping and working towards this microfinance industry. I believe our government also realizes this potential of this microfinance industry and works in achieving the real goals set for this industry. So thank you everyone again, and hope you have a good day.